to it first. Pooping on the street. Yeah, I know. We got to start there. Here's Corey Morgan, and he's responding to Arthur Craig Green's tweet. And Arthur says, warning, this picture is extremely disturbing. It is. It is very disturbing. Look away. It's like an action shot. It's crazy. But it shows the truth of downtown Edmonton. Corey Morgan, yes, he is holding a cheeseburger. Here's the pic. And Corey Morgan says, magnificent action shot. Remember, folks, we mustn't intervene with addicts lest we infringe on their dignity. Here it is. This is, okay, so are you ready? I'm sorry. Be careful when Arthur Green says, please check your toilet paper if you're using a public restroom found at a public bathroom near you. These marks on the roll are from junkies using, junkies in the stall cleaning off their needles. So it's blood smeared on the toilet paper. And that's, what a way. So there you go. There's the picture. Right? Okay, done. Yes, he's holding a cheeseburger. Link is in the description. Why? It's crazy. So is Canada, to answer your question, and the question posed in the title, is Canada a country that allows poop on the street? The answer is yes. Yes, it is. And that's sad because it didn't used to be. If that happened, I don't think that would happen before. I don't think we'd have a situation stack up so that would be something that would happen. But maybe I'm giving our country before 2015 too much credit. Were people pooping on the streets in Canada before 2015? I don't think so. Maxime Bernier, let's talk about swords. Yesterday, I slaughtered saying the name Eritrean, so apologies about that again. But everybody who is anybody noticed the gang warfare happening in Canada and across the world, right? And so the interesting part about this, for me, I haven't seen any kind of real pushback or naming and shaming from Poilievre. I haven't seen anything from Justin Trudeau. Remember when the hijab hoax happened? It was the same day. People expect a response from the Prime Minister and leadership when things like this happen. Nothing from any of the leadership. Jagmeet Singh silent, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And Maxime Bernier's weighed in on it. And he says mass immigration means that we're importing tribal conflicts from the third world. That's what I mean by extreme multiculturalism. We don't need that kind of diversity. They should all be deported to their country and continue to fight there. They're not fit to be Canadian. And so that is what is going on. And I'm glad that there are leaders out there who are saying we should not tolerate this importing of wars from foreign countries to Canadian soil to be fought where Canada and Canadians are the collateral damage. That's intolerable. Our country is supposed to work for us. Why should we tolerate this? This is not our fight. This is not our war. This is not our conflict. Here is one of the clips I used yesterday for the Eritrean thing. And the reason that I said it wrong was because there was no TR, right? See, it's Eritrean here. So that's what I was saying yesterday. That's probably where I read it first. And I thought, I've heard of those people. I thought, yeah, I know who these people are. I've seen that before. Regardless, I got it wrong. This tweet got it wrong. I got it wrong. And apologies about that. But it's interesting that people who are vying for leadership federally are speaking about this. But almost none of them are, right? Not the Bloc, right? Not Elizabeth May. No, not Jagmeet Singh. Not anybody else. Nobody is really talking about this. I haven't seen anything from Poilievre. Is Poilievre upset that there are groups of Eritreans who are attacking each other with 2x4s? No, he's more worried about Tamara Lich and her freedom fighters, right? Western media. Okay, so this is what is potentially going on. Somebody sent this to me. This is from the Gray Zone. And it says, Western media glorifies TPLF mob violence against Eritrean festivals. This summer, violent mobs associated with the U.S.-backed Tigray People's Liberation Front assaulted Eritrean festivals across U.S. and Europe. Western media is now spinning the targeted mob violence as legitimate protest against the Eritrean government. For 40 years, Eritrean festivals have been held around the world to sustain the diaspora community's connections to their homeland and to one another. But this year, a violent, well-coordinated international campaign of sabotage left festival goers badly injured and property damaged. Major Western media reported the pogrom-style attacks as clashes, riots, fights, and violence in a way that implied these had broken out between two sides, masking the reality that hooligans had attacked peaceful festival goers. They also implied that the violence was warranted because Eritrea is run by a repressive government on the wrong side of the new Cold War. In the afternoon of Saturday, August 5th, I exited the Marriott Hotel in Seattle, Tacoma, to see a fire truck, half a dozen cops, an ambulance, and police cars circling around the hotel. As a journalist who had reported from Eritrea, I was there as a guest of the annual Eritrean American Festival. Bystanders told me that hooligans in blue shirts had assaulted the Eritrean Americans attending the festival. 2 women were in the ambulance, soon to be on their way to the hospital. One of the victims was elderly. The attendant inside the ambulance told me I couldn't go in to speak to them as a matter of privacy. One bystander told me that one of the attackers had kicked a young child. At 6 a.m. on the day of the assaults, the mob had invaded the outdoor festival exhibition area to tear down canopies and scatter merchandise while waving American flags. The exhibition area also included a playground with trampolines and other diversions for young children attending with their Iridian American parents. So it's interesting because this is happening, this same memo, the blue shirts, they go in and they start causing violence and attacking people. And it is, even me, yesterday I framed it as and in the beginning of the show saying we don't need to, Maxime Bernier saying we don't need to import this war. What if this is a coordinated attack? I mean, I fundamentally agree that we don't need to import a foreign war. If that's what we're doing, we need to stop. But we also need to recognize, is this terrorism masking as a foreign war? Is this meant to encourage, and I often speak about how people are encouraged to be divided. And so this encourages division, right? How dare you bring your war here? Now we hate all Eritreans. And if you're a freedom-loving person who's not engaging in violence, then I'm on your side, okay? If you want to see freedom and freedom of speech and the freedom of expression maintained, and you want to see the country run itself in a sane way and not with all of these communist things, then we're on the same side. If you're on the side of, I want to hit that guy with a 2x4 because we are disagreeing about things, then I'm not on your side. It doesn't matter about the reasoning for hitting the person with the 2x4. I think you can probably solve conflicts with discussion and free speech most of the time. But if one side has a censorship button, then that's off the table because you can't honestly solve the problems then. And then the 2x4 starts becoming part of the conversation, right? But not attacking women and children in festivals, I don't think. So that's a very different target, right? Like, and should you attack the government with 2x4s? Yeah, proverbial 2x4s, right? I don't think you should go after people with 2x4s ever, period. But at some point, if you can't use words are a non-violent way to solve a problem. And we're supposed to use democracy and words to solve our problems, but we're being manipulated and censored. So if you can't use words to solve your problems, at some point, and I'm not condoning the violence, I'm just saying at some point, people start becoming violent because they either are frustrated, they're seeded to become violent, like stuff like this. Or the divisive rhetoric used to demonize one group, like the anti-vaxxers, like how dare they put in danger our children and things like that. They're demonized to the point of people feel very, very emboldened to attack them. Trump supporters, same thing. I've seen children attacked because they were wearing a red baseball cap, right? Like that's pretty wild stuff, right? And so they want conflict. They want people to fight. Here's an example that is not Eritrean, and I don't know what's going on here. Hold on. One other point with the Eritreans before we go, but I think I've made this point already. Ezra says 150 migrants rioting with weapons in Calgary, no arrests. Calgary's partisan police chief only arrests peaceful Christian protesters like Artur Pawlowski and Tim Stevens, or kids playing ice hockey on like Ocean W. He's a well-known hockey player out that way. And yeah, the point is the same. If you are fighting for freedom, if you're doing something like running your barbecue, if you're doing something like skating on a frozen outdoor rink, or if you're Artur Pawlowski or Tim Stevens, if you're trying to preach to your flock, if you're trying to preach to your true believers and your congregation, you will be targeted, right? But 150 migrants rioting with weapons in Calgary, no mas, right? No, it's no worries. It's no worries. Don't worry about it. And like, wouldn't it be great to arrest everybody and then arrest everybody? Wouldn't it be great to sort out who was responsible? Who started with the 2x4s? Was it the blue shirt guys? Was it the white shirt guys? Was it was it somebody else? Find out what went on, and then rather than like, on your way, we'll get to you in a minute when this riot's over. Yeah, right? Like, I get to the bottom of it, let people know, but we'll never know the truth of it. We'll never know the truth of it. And I just wanted to let you know that there's another side. You have to decide for yourself. I don't know what the truth is, right? It seems plausible. It seems plausible that Eritrean people, foreign nationals are going around, or people who represent a foreign national going around to disrupt these events. I have no idea, but it's a very interesting thing. And I don't like Canada being the target of these kind of things, or them knowing that they can easily do these things and just get away with it, right? It's pretty incredible stuff. Lori Goldstein has an update, but not much of one, for PEI and the swordsman. Terrified Western PEI residents lock doors as hunt goes on for sword attacker. Ground search and rescue team and police dogs deployed in the area, the RCMP says. So pretty incredible. There's somebody on the loose with swords who's attacking people. Multiple people have been injured by this, and the guy's still on the loose. So that's pretty interesting. Here is from yesterday. I think this is updated. I think this is new, but I can't confirm. I don't know when this is actually filmed. This may be an old one to remind us the violence that's just kind of become ubiquitous in Canada, or it may be a new one for an example, another example, a new example of the violence that's become ubiquitous in Canada. Kirk says, meanwhile in Brampton, Ontario, a sword fight. What is happening in Canada? Oof. I mean, these are not small swords, right? There's a guy. This guy was gonna hit somebody with a sword, and then he kind of fell. I can't even imagine. I saw a much more violent sword fight. I'm just gonna leave it there. I don't know if anybody actually gets chopped and like has a bad bleeding cut, but I saw one in a lit gymnasium, and I don't know if it was in the United States or Canada. I played it on the show, and somebody told me where it was, but I can't remember for the life of me, so apologies that I can't. But what happened was there was some disagreement on the basketball court. The kids kind of went to their own way, and the one kid pulls out a machete, chases the other kid, slashes him in the arm, and the kid bleeds all over the freaking basketball court and runs out. And that's the end of the video. And I thought, holy hell, like, did he lose his arm? How badly did he get cut? And somebody said, like, it was just a flesh wound. He got a couple of stitches and he was okay type deal. He was okay, aside from the machete cut in his arm. So, you know, I mean, he's probably not doing bicep work for a little while. But it's one of those things where I think to myself, is this better? Like, why do we think this is better? How is this a tolerable solution to whatever problem we're trying to solve with this? And why are people just cool with that? Like, oh, don't worry, the kids will be kids. You know, they're sword fighting out in Brampton again. No, I don't. Like, we didn't go sword fighting. We didn't do that. Okay, hold on. Yes, we did. We did go sword fighting. But the swords were hockey sticks with the blades cut off, and they were wrapped with tape. And if you like got touched in the arm, then you had to lose your arm. But of course, you could keep fighting at mostly full capacity, except that you didn't have this arm. And then if you lost your other arm, I mean, you're pretty well dead. If you lost a leg, you could hop around. But yeah, like pretend sword fighting when I was like 12 and maybe older than I should have been. But it was fun, so it was cool. When we were running around forests and stuff, hitting each other with swords, what could go wrong? Somebody did lose a tooth, but not me, so it was fine. But still, we weren't going out with swords that had blades on them. So, and we didn't mean to take out other people's teeth. Like, it wasn't an intentional thing. It was just something that happened. You know, when you've got swords, hockey stick swords. This was not something that Canadians used to do. We didn't hang out in parking lots and like bring your sharpest sword to like whack people with. That wasn't a thing we did in Canada. Let me know if that was something you were doing out in Alberta. Ontario, we weren't doing that. We'd go to the bowling alley. We went to the Bowlerama. We'd play. I love the wizard game. The wizard is hungry, right? Like, it was great. I can't remember what Gauntlet. It was called Gauntlet, and that was great. And we played pool. That was basically it. There was a pool. There was a pool hall in the back of the Bowlerama. There was a little arcade and Street Fighter. Obviously, you play those kind of games. But like, we didn't do this kind of stuff. So what has happened that has so drastically changed everything? I mean, your first two answers don't count, right? Like, you've got three tries and the first two don't count. Obviously, the composition of people has changed. What we do for fun has changed. And now it's turned into, let's go hang out in a parking lot after dark with our sharpest swords. How many swords do you have? Cosman says, He's responding to Kirk. What the F is going on in Northeast Calgary? Cosman says, as police become less able to contain this stuff, expect more private security, more gated communities. That's what I said yesterday. We're witnessing the brazilification of Canada, beginning with big cities. Elites will say everything is fine as they jet to their vacation properties. I mean, if we're going to be living in Brazil of the North anyway, you could live in the South and not have to deal with winter. It's all the same. Yeah, communism, dear leaders, great, blah, blah, blah. I mean, I'm not advocating anybody to move to Brazil, because I think that it's happening everywhere anyway, really. CTV News, pipes, bottles, and 2x4s were used in violent conflict that broke out between Eritrean groups. Did I get that right? Eritrean? Yeah, okay. Groups in Calgary. Tyson Ford reports, watch here. And G. Hayes says, agents of influence operating illegally in Canada, deport them. So if this isn't just natural-born Canadians, what if they all flew in on flights from somewhere to disrupt this festival at somebody's behest? Is that international terrorism, right? Like, there are people, no word of a lie, January 6ers right now in jail for terrorism charges for 17 years and more for terroristically moving a fence. They moved a fence that was U.S. property on U.S. Capitol grounds. That's terrorism. Terrorists move fences like that. You're a terrorist, 17 years. Real. And these guys, who knows who they are? Like, if they're not Canadians and they're opportunists or like people who are here to act agents of influence or act inappropriately, we should probably deal with that. But it seems like, did we arrest anybody? I don't think we did, right? I don't think we did. Here is Sweden. Ferryman's Toll is sharing this one. Algerian migrant climbs a ladder onto his Swedish ex-girlfriend's balcony in an attempt to kill her. So he's climbing up here, and the guy's trying to like say, no, don't do that. The dude has a 9-inch knife that you haven't seen. He punches the guy here. But at this point in time, I'm throwing him off that freaking ladder. I'm not coming in the house going, oh no, because he's halfway up the thing. Look at the knife. The guy's got a huge freaking knife, and he's got a brick to break through the glass window here. So, and he does break through the glass window, and that's kind of the end of the video.
Han krossar glaset med en sten.
I'd pick up that brick and hit him in the head. Forget that. I'm not running away from that dude. I mean, jeepers creepers, right? But that's the kind of violence that people are experiencing, and not just in Canada and Sweden too. Cultural enrichment, right? Or just monetary enrichment for the schools. James Lindsley says, I'm going to Canada in about a month to try and help free the people from their communist country. I would love to go to this, but it is in Calgary and Edmonton. I wonder if he'll see the street pooper. Edmonton on October 2nd at Life Church, and Calgary October 3rd at Glenmore Inn. And so you can do that. And somebody said, are you heading to Vancouver? I said, are you coming to Ontario? Chanel Fall says, awesome. I'd love to see you in Ottawa at some point. And he says that's like Kanekistan. Hello, everyone. Thanks very much for watching. This is just a short version of a longer show. If you'd like to get the whole show, you can go over to CanadaPoly.com and sign up for a subscription. Just look in the drop-down tab for Shop and Donate and look for subscriptions, and you'll get immediate access to the full show. Love to see you. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a wonderful, wonderful